Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to begin this lesson here by giving all praises and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai Ba'asham Akakodash. Double honors goes on to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations goes to the elect. This is Brother One from the Great Millstone camp in Trinidad. Coming back to do another lesson through the Holy Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, of course. And the name of this lesson is Western civilization at its core is the most corrupt civilization or existence ever since the world began. Right? Western civilization is a corrupt existence, very, very corrupt existence, and it have a lot of people into it. Now let me read this here. This book of Job 10 and 20. It says, "Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. A land of darkness as death itself, and the shadow of death without any order, where the light is as darkness." And that is this country, no, not this country, this Western civilization. Right? Let's see what has Western civilization contributed to the world? Western civilization has contributed significantly to global culture, particularly in the areas of politics, technology, and philosophy. Key contributions include the development of democracy. No one cares about that. Them didn't develop democracy. Well, they didn't say invented. They might be mean like they developed it further than when it first invented in the Greek Empire. The Enlightenment, the scientific revolution, the rise of industrial capitalism. What is the Enlightenment? What is the Enlightenment period? 1685 to 1815. I guess that is why they call when we was ruling the Dark Age, right? The Enlightenment was an intellectual movement in the 17th and 18th centuries that sought to improve society through fact-based reason and inquiry. The Enlightenment brought secular thought to Europe and reshaped the ways people understood issues such as liberty, equality, and individual rights. What is the Enlightenment? How did it transform politics? What was the Enlightenment period in simple terms? The Enlightenment period in simple terms, also known as the Age of Reason, was an intellectual and cultural movement in the 18th century that emphasized reason over superstition and science over blind faith. So really and truly, it was a movement where see where you could prove rather than believe in some. And remember, Catholicism was dominating the world around that time. So with Catholicism, people were more told what to do. This period what it shows is that is no more so of being told what to do rather than let me prove that. Don't just tell me to believe in God and do me all kind of thing. Prove to me that I must believe, that it have a God. Reason, let me reason. When and where did the Enlightenment take place? Historians place the Enlightenment in Europe with a strong emphasis on France during the late 17th and 18th centuries, or more comprehensively between the Glorious Revolution, right? I did a lesson talking about that just the other day, and in 1688 and the French Revolution of 1789. represents a phase in the intellectual history of Europe and also programs of reform inspired by belief in the possibility of a better world that outlined specific targets for criticism and programs of action. What led to the Enlightenment? We don't have to go into all of that, right? We don't have to go into all of that. But really and truly is some like we wiser than just believing in anything that we hear. Prove things. So you know what that led to? I'm not sure. The Big Bang Theory. That led to the who started? I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Yeah, I look up some phone because I bought a phone yesterday. It's a cheaper phone than the iPhone Samsung, but you can damn good. Better than the phone I had. Who? The Big Bang Theory was first proposed by Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian Catholic priest, astronomer, and physicist in the 1920s. In 1927, Lemaitre published a paper suggesting that the universe is expanding, and a concept derived from Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity further posited that this expansion originated from a dense primordial state, which he described as the primeval atom, a term that later became associated with the Big Bang Theory. While Russian physicist Alexander Friedman had independently derived similar solutions to Einstein's equation earlier, Lemaitre was the first to connect these solutions to observe a phenomena. So all of this here could tie into the age of enlightenment and all of that, right? th and 18th centuries, so to improve society, right? The Age of Enlightenment was an intellectual and philosophical movement taking place in Europe from the late 17th century to the early 19th century. See, so all of the Big Bang Theory thing and all of that, they started to use the science to say we smarter than the Most High, right? We more intellect. We have more intel than the Heavenly Father. So this is what Western civilization brought it, and what would have been started off as some kind of hey, we wise, end up transitioning to there is no God. Scientific revolution. Let's see. Yes, the scientific revolution and the age of enlightenment are closely related, with the former laying the groundwork for the latter. Boom! And I didn't even know that. You gotta drop the mic in. The mic had a drop. Had a drop. I didn't even know that was Slovakia. I did not know that. I did not know it like this specifically, like know it like that. So I'm gonna read through that. Right? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It's so, you know. And what ChatGPT say, closely related. ChatGPT say it might be related. ChatGPT say it might be related or nothing like that. ChatGPT say it's closely related. Let me read that over again. Right? Let me read it over again. Because this is what Western civilization bring to the world. Who the fuck? Who needed this, bro? Who needed this? Yes, I asked ChatGPT at the scientific revolution, because this is what Google have to say Western civilization bring to the world, right? What I asked Google, what has Western civilization contributed to the world? Western civilization has contributed significantly to global culture. Right? This is Google. This is what Google have to say concerning that, right? They contributed significantly to global culture, particularly in the areas of politics, technology, and philosophy. Key contributions include the development of democracy, which is good for nobody, because democracy end up leading to perversion on the face of the earth, right? The Enlightenment, the scientific revolution, and the rise of industrial capitalism. So now, let me see what ChatGPT had to say concerning the Enlightenment period. So I asked ChatGPT, are the scientific revolution and the age of enlightenment related? ChatGPT says yes. The scientific revolution and the age of enlightenment are closely related, with the former, which is the scientific revolution, laying the groundwork for the latter, right, which is the age of enlightenment, right? So what the scientific revolution was about? The scientific revolution marked a profound shift in scientific thought, replacing centuries-old doctrines with new methods of inquiry. Pioneers like Nicolaus Copernicus, Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, and Isaac Newton challenged traditional views, emphasizing observation, experimentation, and mathematical reasoning. Isaac Newton's philosophy, Naturalis Principia Mathematica, unified the laws of motion and universal gratification, exemplifying the era's achievements. So what I had said was the age of enlightenment laid the groundwork for the scientific revolution, but it is the other way around, according to ChatGPT. So I said it wrong, right? Following the scientific revolution, the age of enlightenment emerged, right, as an intellectual movement that emphasized reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. What was traditional authority? Traditional authority was God, the Most High. Well, not ultimately the Most, but it have a God, and all you have to obey God. The Catholic Church was on shit, but But what this movement was doing, basically pushing the Most High out, pushing anything about God out, because Esau coming to pop. So and this is a cancer, and what cancers do? What do cancers do? Let me ask you, what do cancers do? No, not the zodiac sign. The fuck. Cancer disrupts the body by causing abnormal cells to grow uncontrollably, potentially spreading to other parts of the body. These cells can invade and destroy normal tissue, disrupt organ function, and lead to a range of systemic symptoms. This is uncontrolled growth. That's what cancer is. Cancer cells lose the signals that tell them when to stop dividing, leading to rapid uncontrolled cell growth, and that is what's going on. These things were cancerous to the world, and look what it leads to now. What are the criticisms of Western civilization? In recent decades, critics have argued that Western civilization is racist and oppressive because it was shaped by white men who are long dead, right? And all of that is a part of Western civilization, because that is a new thing, and that wasn't in the ancient world. That argument resembles the claim made by the man who said Volkswagens were defective cars because they had been driven in the past by a lot of Germans. You see what is it? That argument resembling that. No, let me read over that. That argument resembles the claim made by the man who said Volkswagens were defective cars because they have been driven in the past by a lot of No, that is bullshit. How the hell that could resemble that? That man who said that is just a dummy. But this is true. Racist and Western, and this is not the reason why to criticize Western civilization. The knowledge of the Most High is completely gone from Western civilization. Completely gone. There is no knowledge of the Father over here. Like why Job say this in the book of Job here. Because Job speaking here, right? Job say a land of darkness as darkness itself, where Job 10 and 22, and of the shadow of death without any order, where the light is as darkness. The light over here is as it have no light over here. If you could get Job and Job 14, right? Job 14 and is it Job 14? It's not Job 14. No, it's not Job 14. It's Job 20. 22, I think, or 24. Yeah, Job 24. Job 24. This is you're talking about Western civilization. You talk about capitalism, right? And what is capitalism? To capitalize, right? Let me look up the meaning of the word capitalize. Oh, it's a Z, right? It's a S or whatever. To capitalize on someone. Capitalize, right? The verb for it. Capitalize, briefly. Right? Related to capitalizing. See? I'll show you. Let me fucking say what it is. Alright. Capitalize on someone. Oh shit. I put 2 P's. All of a sudden the laptop's sticking. Capitalize on someone is an idiomatic expression that means to take advantage of a person or situation, often in a way that is not entirely fair or ethical. Right. So Western civilization and the rise of industrial capitalism. Capitalism is the same fucking word as capitalizing. And what wasn't fair? What wasn't fair? When you start to work for them, right? You're working for them and they're paying you pennies on the dollar. You making them giving you 2 cents and you making them $80. They capitalized on your labor. If it's a man who had a small business, they capitalized on him and bought him out and paid him nothing for his business and took it over. That is what capitalization is. And it's a business practice that goes on in the world today. It's selfishness. You're not caring about the next man at no point. So all I see here that the Western world country, so it is a world that not fit to be in existence because it's completely contrary to the scriptures. Democracy, enlightenment, human rights. What human rights? What is the human rights here? The so-called Negroes, through their science, right? The age of reasoning and the age of enlightenment, and that as around that time, the 3/5 compromise, which referred to enslaved people as 3/5 of a person, was used during the drafting of the US Constitution in 1787. This phrase was not a literal statement about the value of enslaved individuals, but a way to determine representation in the Congress. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Well, I had them in slaves. It's because you think there's animals. You're trying to spin it. Often misrepresented to mean that Israelites as individuals are considered 3/5 of a person, or that they are 3/5 of a citizen of the United States. The 3/5 clause of the Constitution in fact declared that for purposes of representation in Congress. Get the fuck up. What you mean strictly, right, is that we ain't really human. A real human, what did I say? The 5 senses: touch, taste, smell. No, so that. Is it 5 senses? I mean, it's not more than 5, but you sort of say 5 senses. 5 senses. The 5 traditional recognized senses are sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. These senses allow us to perceive and interact with the world. So right, we lack in some things. And they use the science to prove that. So if a full human who had these 5 senses, we lack in some of that. Therefore, we ain't really human. We really 3/5 of a man. And therefore we are justified in doing them what we feel to do. That is basically what I was saying. That is what I was saying. Don't try to hide it now. Don't try to hide it now. I fucking told you. So you brought that to the world, right? And you're boasting on that. Human rights. So you're talking about human rights. You could never say human rights you bring to the world, and in your constitution have enslaved Negroes as 3/5 of a man. I know you're trying to spin it and say it's because at this dies. Well, no, the reason why I said that is because you had them in slavery, and you say in your science that them in really up to our level of intellect, because we have is the age of intellect, is the age of reason, is the age of enlightenment. They don't have enlightenment, they are dummies. They're basically animals, so they're 3/5 of a man. Stop the fucking lying. That's what the damn devil does do. These Job 24:5. It says, as behold, as wild asses in the desert go they forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey. The wilderness yielded food for them and for their children. They reap everyone his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no covering in the cold. Right, and this is the things that was going on. How you could say human rights and you had literal humans in slavery? You bring no human rights over here, bro. So you know what? We will have your ass in slavery. It said they are wet. Snowing. Right. It says they are wet with the showers of the mountain. They embrace the rock for want of a shelter. They pluck the fatherless from the breast and take a pledge of the poor. Right, and that's what they were doing in slavery. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheaf from the hungry, which make oil within their walls and tread their winepress and suffer thirst. Right, so they're feeding the self, making the self fat, and they're allowing people to be thirsty on the next side. Men groaned from out of the city, and the soul of the wounded cried out, yet the Most High laid not folly to them. At that time it would have seemed so, like God leaving them to do what they want to. But no, the Most High have a plan. It's a long rope leaving them. You go ahead now. What is he saying? The longest rope of our end. They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. Right, they don't know the way of the light, the truth. The murderer rising with the light, killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief. So he rose with the light, right? Meaning in the morning, he rise with the light. He doing wickedness. But with his age of enlightenment time, what he was doing around that time? Destroying Jake, Negroes, the Latinos, the Native American Indians, and he was prospering. That is what Western civilization brought to the world. You see, we uncovering the nastiness behind this damn devil. We lifting up that skirt and we pulling, we peeping behind the curtain. You understand? We peeping behind the curtain. You sort of want nobody be behind the curtain. You sort of want nobody be behind the curtain. Because if people be behind the curtain, people go see what he own. You know what that? never wanted anybody to peep behind it, take a look behind the curtain, pull it back. You know what I mean? Like what we do it through the Spirit. The Lord gave us that gift. There's a gift. Appreciate the gift. This is the book of Isaiah 47:1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." So the Lord saying that he will take vengeance on you damn devils very soon. Because Babylon, right, spread its philosophies throughout the whole world, to the point of, even in the book of we get that here in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 or 15, I believe it's 15. Around 45 somewhere there. Yeah. 2nd Ezra 15 and 45, it says 46 and verse 46, and it says, "And thou, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon, and are the glory of her person, woe be unto thee." Because guess what? As Apostle Natah say, he sees China as the model for the MOTB, and I agree with that. Them elites going over there and build up them gooks, well, I'm going to say that word, the Moabites, because the elites who went across there and built them up, right? In the 50s, I was book on the Rothschilds. Rothschilds was funding some Mao or some kind of thing, so I can't remember it. Mao. Right. Former chairman of the Communist Party. Right. This nigga here. Mao Zedong. Revolutionary and political theorist who founded the People's Republic of China in 1949. He was funded by the small hats. Definitely, I read that. How is Mao viewed in China? For his role in fighting against the Japanese fascist invasion, creating the people, but Maoism has implemented in 1915. Right. So him, right? Him. The small hearts say, you know what? Let me test it out over here, so we have to build them up and all that. To build them up, give them a little play. Everybody in the pocket of them, boy. Everybody in their pocket, boy. Sure about that, Sure about that. Everybody in their pocket. So you see, the glory of her, so the glory, you representing Babylon, Asia. It says, "Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her." To China and Asia, trying to be just like America, and has decked thy daughters in order, that they might please the Lord and miss nobody, right? That they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to come into whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses, and destruction, and with destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds. so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. Right? And that is what America do, spread the filth. They spread their filth all over the world. They spread it all. What the hell? Oh. Revelation 17 and verse 2. I read from one. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication." Right, these different world leaders. "And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." That is this year what a boasting on. All these things is fucking fornication, religious tolerance, technological and economic, industrial revolution, capitalism, cultural and social individualism. See? All them things what a boasting on. That end up, there's a fucking cancer that end up spreading, like. And they just take over the body and kill you. So Esau really don't have long again. The scripture say Revelation 12 and 12. He knows that he have but a short time. He knows fully well his time is very short. He knows that. He sees us. He knows the prophets out there. He says, shit, my time short. So Western civilization is the most, single-handedly, the most decrepit, depraved, vile, demonic. It has Satan worshipping going on over here. Ouija boards buying, all them demons, horror movies, all them things. Right? All them things. This is attributed to Western civilization. The people more dumb than before. The people in America is the dumbest in the world, and that is the capital of Western civilization. That is Babylon the Great. So it really needs to be gone from the face of the earth. It have no purpose on the earth, really and truly. When you look at it in the grand scheme of it, it has no purpose on the earth. It needs to go. Right? It needs to go. So I feel I will close it off here. I will give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai Ba'asham, Kakodash. Double honors again to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, that rule well, peace, blessings, and salutations goes to the elect at camp. Stay strong. Shalom.